If juggling half-finished projects and missed appointments sounds familiar, stick around. I swapped chaos for 9 simple strategies that actually keep my business running. And in this episode, I'm going to share the tactics that turned frantic all-nighters into focused, productive days, and hopefully get you some quick wins and some results. Ready to stop scrambling and start thriving with the brain you've got? Let's dive in. When I think back to the before times, all I can really remember is just being constantly scattered. And I can't think of a better word for it, but I couldn't complete a thought. I was super forgetful and I was not remembering things that people told me or people's names or appointment times or promises that I made, plans I made, and what I even came into this room for, right? Never finishing projects, which I'm still guilty of to this day, but it was way worse before, especially with like paintings or craft projects or just other household projects that I started and then just left for dead. I'm sure this sounds familiar to you. Losing things. I would constantly be losing my keys or asking where I put something. And of course, nobody else knows because they're not the ones who put it down, right? So important papers, my phone. How many times have I looked for my phone and it's actually been in my pocket or, somewhere stupid, or I accidentally put something in the fridge that has no business being in the fridge. On top of that, and being just totally scatterbrained, I would procrastinate like crazy. So deadlines always seemed to sneak up on me, even though I knew they were coming. I put them in my calendar and I'm the one who made the appointment or made this thing that had the deadline, right? And somehow still snuck up on me and I'm scrambling, staying up late to finish it and not giving my 100% to whatever this work is that I'm doing because it's super frantic. I would double book people. I would forget that someone canceled and I'd be sitting there like, why the fuck is my client no showing me today? And really they canceled and I just forgot to take it out of my schedule. And I would leave people on red. And I meant to respond. I said, I'm going to do this in a minute when I have the time to fully respond. And then I just didn't. And then I forgot. So all of these things would make one think that I was aware that I had ADHD and that my parents were aware and that this is something that everyone knew about me from childhood. But the truth is, I wasn't diagnosed until I was a full-grown person. And it wasn't even until I got my daughter diagnosed that it occurred to me that this is probably also me. So I'm going through all the motions of getting her tested and having her teachers fill out the forms. And, I was pretty sure she had it. Her dad has ADHD. So I was like, oh my God, this is definitely what she's got going on. I need to get her some help. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm realizing, oh, that sounds really familiar. Oh, that sounds like me too. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, has my life been this hard all this time because I have ADHD and I was never diagnosed and I was never offered any kind of help or support with it? So decided to get tested and see if that was true. So I had to take this 2-hour-long test. I had to go to the office and I did all these like little games and things, and they gave me a form to give to my parents. I'm a full-grown adult, and my parents had to fill out a form about me as a child and answer all these questions. And I'm reading over the sheet that they gave me, and it's like, has trouble sitting still, or talks really fast and acts like she's run by a motor, and they have to like rate this thing like 1 to 5 or something like that. So I'm thinking, this isn't me. Like, I don't have a problem sitting still. I'm not fidgety. And then my parents fill it out and give it back to me. And I'm like, what the fuck? So they scored me like super high on all these things that I didn't even know about myself and I didn't realize. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I can kind of remember as a kid watching TV and being like, upside down on the couch and like hanging off the back of the couch or the side of the couch or like flopping around all over the place. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe not sitting still is a real thing. But, in my mind, I'm like, well, when I'm hyper focused and like working on something, like I could sit there and tattoo, 6, 8 hours a day, and I'm sitting still and I'm not like super fidgety that I know of. I could be, but I'm thinking this isn't true. But the thing about ADHD that a lot of people don't realize is that we have the ability to hyper focus on the things that we're interested in. Everything else, we don't care about something, like we're not going to be able to sit still. We're not going to be able to sit through it. And that's something that I only learned after the fact, after being diagnosed. So my parents filled out the form and I took this 2-hour long test and they were like, yes, definitely you have that. So, but up until this point, how old was I? I think I was 30. Oh my God, I'm going to give away my age now. Um, I'm 44 now. I'll just get it out there. But I think I was diagnosed when I was 38. So it's been a minute now that I've known this and I've been dealing with it, aware of it happening. But up until that point in my life, I was just, struggle busting through everything and figuring stuff out on my own, not realizing what was going on. But the kind of cool thing about it and the interesting part about it is that I I taught myself these little tricks and these little strategies that I would use to help myself out, that if you go and read about it, they're the exact things that they teach you to do to deal with ADHD. So it's really funny that I ended up with the same like strategy without knowing like what I was actually doing. But I think that it ended up being a good thing. And I think that learning how to do things without medication and learning how to get around things and work with my brain the way that it is really helped me in the long run. So now that I am medicated, which I don't take my medicine all the time, I only take it when I have to. Like when I come to work and I have to focus on a tattoo for, 8 hours, I'm going to take my medicine because I'm not risking like forgetting to put whiskers on the cat or like whatever. So, I take it when I need to. And when I don't, I have the tools that I need to get through my day and do things and not like completely trash my life. Right. So it ended up being a good thing because I learned how I work best on my own. And I learned what my weaknesses are. And I could start to pick out these patterns and see like maybe I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I was like starting to become aware of. And so my official diagnosis is ADHD combined type with severe executive dysfunction and impulsivity. Obviously, and that's like whenever he read it to me, I was like, uh-huh, that makes sense. Okay. Yes, I do feel like I'm an impulsive person, and I think that is a word that surrounded my life as a teenager and 20s, and so it's that's been a big problem. And I think that the medication really, if it helps you with anything, the most it's going to be that part, because I don't make impulsive decisions when I'm on my medication, to the point where like I'll see something. I know this about myself now, so I'll be like, scrolling online and I see an ad for something that I'm like, oh, I want that, and I'll put it in my shopping cart, and I'm like, nope, no, I'm gonna wait until I'm fully medicated and can make a rational decision before I purchase this, because I know myself, like if I'm just allowed to just shop impulsively, I'm gonna go broke. So I have a shopping problem. So I know this about myself now, so I can like curb that a little bit. So, but whenever he read this, diagnosis to me, my response, my response was just like, yes, that makes sense. That sounds right. So if you want to take the hard route and you want to struggle through your life and figure things out on your own, by all means, you can do that. Like I said, it wasn't it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like, I did learn things about myself, and I learned how I work best on my own without being told. But if you want to speed up that process, then you should maybe listen and learn from others who went before you. You you should maybe read about it, read about like how your brain works. And it's not, it's not a cookie cutter thing where like every single person who has ADHD is this and this works for them, and this, this is any kind of law or rule. But you can pick and choose like what's going to work for you and try them out and see how it goes. And once I was diagnosed, I mean, I had already started, actually, I think before that, because once my daughter was diagnosed, I started reading. I want to learn everything there is to know about things that I'm interested in. And maybe that's also an ADHD trait, I think. But I want to know everything there is to know, and I'm going to learn it, and so that I know it and I can use it to my advantage. So I'm dealing with, at the time, I think she was maybe 9 or 10, maybe younger than that. And I needed to know how to deal with her, because like it was hard. If you have a child with it, it's difficult. They are very strong-willed, and sorry, mom and dad, I probably sucked. I'm sure I sucked as a kid. But I was like, I don't want to just be this parent that's always like yelling at her and like grounding her for not doing the things. I want to try and understand her brain and understand how it works and how to work around these things and how to help her, rather than just like punish her all the time, which is, kind of how I felt about my childhood. No offense to my parents, like back then, girls didn't really get diagnosed with ADHD. It wasn't a thing because it shows up differently in girls. So it wasn't a thing that they really did back then or knew about. So it wasn't common for girls to get diagnosed. So I'm not blaming them, but I do want to do better. And that's the whole point, is to, give your kids the better childhood than you had. So I really wanted to be an advocate for her, and I wanted to understand her and try and help her and, give her the tools that I never had as a kid. So I started reading. I read all of these books. One of the biggest helps, I think, was this book called 10 Days to a Less Distracted Child. And so I'm reading these books and I'm like, this is me. This is how my brain works. And I'm learning how to help others help me, if that makes any sense. So this book is like teaching you like how, I don't want to say manipulate. That sounds like it's a bad thing, but yeah, I mean, it shows you how to like manipulate the situation so that you can function and live together. And it teaches you how to get them to do the things that they're supposed to do, how to ease their frustration, and, get how to motivate them to do what they need to do to, be a functioning part of the household. So I'm reading all of these things and learning that this is how I work. And now I can be like, hey, when I do this, it's because of this, and here's how you should handle me. So it'll be like super useful for me as well as for my daughter, trying to help her. So, but I stopped fighting it so hard and started realizing that I don't know everything. I tried for 38 years doing it on my own. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like, I'm doing the best I can, but I don't really fucking know. So let me start reading and studying. So that's how I came to this, this list of 9 ways that I deal with my ADHD so that I can function in life. But more importantly, for this episode's sake, is function in my business, because, life is life. But when your business is counting on you to have your shit together and to make sure things don't get fucked up and don't go wrong, it feels way more severe than you just like forgetting to you put your phone in the fridge, or you haven't folded your laundry and put it away, and like stuff like that at home. It doesn't seem so severe as like, 8 people that rely on you for their jobs to all of a sudden not have a place to work because you're a fuck up, So, um, so yeah, so this is how, combined with my own personal experience and the things that I've learned, how I've come up with my list of ways to deal with my ADHD so that I can run my business successfully and smoothly. So first on my list is lists. Funny, right? That actually wasn't even intentional. I think that's hilarious. But did I take my medicine this morning? Because I feel very much like I didn't. I'm gonna get to that later. So lists. I have lists on lists on lists. So I have literally a list for my lists. It's so ridiculous. I have at least 3 different apps that I use to keep track of things, and because I like certain lists to do certain things and look certain ways, but yeah, I mean, I'm not recommending that. Don't have a million places to put things. It makes things more confusing sometimes. But lists help me through everything because I will literally go into work with an agenda like I'm going to work on these things today. If I don't have them written down, medicated or not, I'm forgetting what I'm doing halfway through the day. I must check back on these lists like multiple times a day. Like, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I working on today? What was my goal? What was my goal for this week? What are my goals for this year? Like, I have to constantly like check back and see what I'm supposed to be doing. And, that sounds crazy and like overkill, but like, if it's helping me get through my fucking day, like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to have a million lists. I'm going to have 4 different list apps. I'm going to have Monday.com that is also kind of a list app. But it's like, it works for me. So I'm going to do that. So number 2 is routines. Classic ADHD trait is avoidance and disinterest. And these are the hardest things to get someone to do or get yourself to do if you don't want to do it. So all of the things like, going to the gym or doing your laundry or, meal prepping, like anything that's like monotonous and you're just so like uninterested in it, you're avoiding it. The only way that I have learned to get around these things is by creating habits. So if I can make the task something that is on autopilot where I don't have to think about it, where it's like my body is just doing it without my permission, kind of, I will get the thing done whether I want to do it or not. So it starts out where you're just kind of forcing it and, you hate doing it, but you're like making yourself do it. But if you keep doing that and keep showing up over and over again, it starts to become like you don't even think about it. It's like anything that works this way where it's like learning how to brush your teeth. Like, kids don't want to brush their teeth. When you were a kid, you didn't want to brush your teeth. Your parents probably had to like force you to do it. And, it's not fun. But eventually you get to the point where like you don't even think about it. Like, you're not thinking like I have to like move the toothbrush up and down, and like you don't think about any of that. You can literally be doing 4 different other things while you're brushing your teeth. It's just second nature. It's just routine. And same thing with like tying your shoes. Like, it's very intentional. It's very like hard at first, but the more times you do it, you get this routine going. You don't even think about it anymore. It's just completely autopilot. So this is how I've learned to get through the things that I don't want to do, specifically going to the gym. So every morning when I get up for the gym, I have the same exact routine. So I set myself up for the night before, put my clothes out, make sure that I have, my pre-workout set up for me. I have a little backpack that I take with my headphones that hopefully are charged. A lot of times they're not, but I have everything ready for me at the door. So I get up in the morning and I'm barely awake and I'm like running through the motions of going, making my pre-workout, grabbing my things, like whatever, going out the door, and I'm not even awake yet, and I'm just doing these things. Once you create a habit and a routine that is completely autopilot and you don't have to think about, then you can start to add another habit. So after I got the gym down and going through all of that, I come back from the gym and now I've added in to take my, drink my protein shake. And then I have my different like vitamins and supplements that I take. And now it's like completely routine and I don't have to think about it. I just walk in the door and my body is just automatically going to the cabinet, getting the, supplements and doing all the things. And this is the only way that I've been able to force myself through these types of things. And it's the same way when I come to work. I have my different routines and things that I do when I first walk in the door, because if I don't make them a routine, they're not going to get done. And that is the only way that I can manage a lot of the things that I do here, is just to force it until it's easy, right? And this has been really great for my daughter because the mornings in our house, oh my God, it is a fucking nightmare to get her out the door to the bus. Well, it used to be, I'll say. It's gotten so much better since we've started doing this. So I used to fight with her every morning to get her ready. We would always be running late. And something I learned about her too, and I don't know if this is an ADHD thing, but once I stopped nagging her and like constantly checking in with her and just let her be responsible for herself, she literally did the things and did them faster. And now I'm like, shit, was she just like not getting them done and not doing them to just be rebellious? Because I get that. That sounds like me also. But so I stopped nagging her and, just kind of taught her like, okay, make it a routine, do the same thing, in the same order every single morning, and then you won't forget things. And the one thing that we have left now is medicine, taking medicine on the way out the door. It's definitely in the last like year gotten better, where she's almost remembering to do it on her own. But sometimes she's still running late and we have to like race out the door. But for the most part, I would say maybe like 50% of the time she remembers to take her medicine, because it's now a habit where she does it right before she walks out. It's the last thing that she does. She picks up her backpack, grabs her medicine, takes it, and then we leave. So maybe we should make it a routine earlier in the morning. Less chance of forgetting it. I don't know, but it seems to be working. We just have to get there. It's the repetition is what's going to get us there. So we're just going to keep pushing forward with that. Number 3, prioritizing sleep. I used to stay up all night. I used to stay up really late. I'd be drawing, painting, whatever. I fucked my sleep up so bad. I would stay up all night, sleep all morning, no consistent sleep schedule whatsoever. I was all over the place. And we're talking up until just recently too. And I would say maybe last year, I started actually forcing myself to go to bed at like 9 or 10 and wake up at 5 or 6 to go to the gym. And before that, I would be drawing until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to like draw for my appointment the next day because I procrastinated, right? So I started to notice that when I didn't sleep the night before, regardless if I took my medicine or not, I was foggy all day. I felt like shit. I performed like shit. And it really, really affects me not sleeping. And for so long, I was like, I don't need sleep. I can work off of 4, 5 hours of sleep. No problem. It's not true. It's definitely not fucking true, because now that I have been well rested for a while now, I can tell you there is a very big difference. And once you start to be consistent with it and consistently get good sleep, the moment you fall off, you feel it so hard and it fucks you all up. So I created a sleep routine where I'm going to bed at 10 p.m., strict bedtime, and 5 a.m. wake up. And 7 hours of sleep is a really big deal for me. I'm used to only getting like 4 to 6 hours, like I said. So this is definitely an improvement. They say you're supposed to have 8 hours of sleep, but I don't know that that's true for everyone. I think that honestly, like 7 hours for me at first felt really shitty. I would always wake up feeling worse, but I don't know if it's just because I'm not used to getting the proper amount of sleep or what. But I'm getting more used to 7 hours of sleep, and I think that I'm starting to feel better with it. So, I mean, and I guess when you actually look at it, by the time I actually fall asleep and the amount of times that I wake up during the night because my dog snores and he's a pain in my ass, I probably only get 6 hours, but like 6 hours of solid sleep is still way more than I was getting. So But I feel better overall. I'm more alert. I have better ideas. I have better decision-making skills. I have better quality work. So it's really important to get sleep. Number 4, chunking down big tasks. So being overwhelmed by a large task, even with medication, is definitely something I struggle with. The medication helps, but it's not a cure-all. So right now I'm working on an online course. Don't tell anybody. Um, it's not ready yet. But so I'm working on an online course. It's a huge undertaking and I don't really know where to start. And I know that breaking that down into smaller chunks makes it doable for me. So instead of my to-do list saying build online course, it's going to say make a list of the main lessons you want to teach. And I can then just focus on one small part of it and not freeze up looking at this whole big picture. If us addies are going to be, set out to climb a mountain, instead of saying, I'm going to climb a mountain today, we're going to say, I'm going to go today. I'm going to go to the mountain. And we're going to look at the trail in front of us and we're going to put one foot in front of the other and we're going to fucking go. Otherwise, we're going to sit there and stare at the top of the mountain, listing all the reasons why we can't do this. By chunking down something that seems like an enormous task into these smaller bite-sized bits, like it makes it so much easier for us to mentally like wrap our head around actually doing the thing. So number 5, minimize distractions. So another reason with this mountain analogy, I say we're looking down at the trail, is we can't be looking around at all the trees and the rocks and the streams if we want to get to the top. And we have to minimize these distractions. The first step is identifying them. What are my specific distractions? For me, it's funny. Something that can help me stay super focused can also distract me. So it's a really kind of mixed bag of me identifying what my distractions are. Music, for example, sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. So at the gym, when I'm reading on the treadmill, which stay with me here, everybody's like, what the fuck? So I literally bring my book and I read on the treadmill. And I'm not running, okay? Like I have it on like extreme incline and I'm walking. So it's not like my book's like bouncing around everywhere. But so I'm reading on the treadmill and I have to put music on because I have to block out all of the background noise in the gym and like their weird music and people talking and heavy breathing or whatever. So I have my headphones on and I listen to lo-fi music while I read and walk on the treadmill. So if I'm tattooing, I need music that has words with it. Words that I know specifically, because it tends to like occupy a part of my brain that likes to wander and gets like my brain will distract me sometimes where I'm not even looking at anything or doing anything in particular that distracts me. I'm just thinking about shit and then I will forget what I'm doing. So I need something constantly keeping that part of my brain distracted so that I can focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. And if I'm writing, I need lo-fi. I can't have words in it. If I hear words while I'm trying to write, I'm going to start writing the words that I'm hearing or something. So I need that music to kind of calm me, but it also can't be words and things that distract me. So it's rough. TV, same thing. So I'll sit on the couch and draw and I'll put the TV on. But it has to be a show that I already know, that I've already seen a million times, which is why I just put Gilmore Girls on repeat because I could pretty much recite that fucking show. I love it. But I have a suspicion though that I am actually watching it. I'm telling everyone like I don't watch it. I just listen to it. I can hear it and picture the show in my mind and know what's going on. I don't need to look at it, but I'm pretty sure I look at it. And that's probably a problem. But my phone is the same thing. So it's mostly, my phone is such a distraction and such a nightmare for me. I wish I could just fucking chuck it in the pool sometimes, but I need it for my alarms and my timers and my reminders so that I can stay focused and it will keep me on track. But the temptation to pick it up is unreal. And to just grab that like quick dopamine hit is just so fucking strong. And I have to weigh the pros and cons on that. And sometimes like sometimes I just have to understand I can't have my phone near me today. Like, today is a rough day. I'm putting my phone in the other room so I can focus. Fuck the timers, fuck the reminders. I'll just figure it out on my own. But once I know what my biggest distractions are, I can figure out how to best minimize them. So for the music, I have to choose my music carefully and be really intentional about the type that I put on. And I create different playlists for different tasks that I'm doing. With the TV, knowing which shows distract me and which ones help me, and just really making sure that I'm not intentionally derailing myself. With the phone, when to put it away and when to keep it close. I just heard a study that says by having your phone just on the table in view, even if it's like face down, a lot of people say just put it face down, you won't look at it. But even having it face down near you, it reduces your cognitive capacity and it affects your memory, your focus, your ability to problem solve. And I just want to put this out there that I read this and I know this to be true, and yet I still keep my phone next to me on the desk. In fact, it's sitting here on the couch next to me and I can feel it like dinging and vibrating every time someone texts me or get a notification. And I'm trying to do this and focus on this, and it's definitely fucking me up. So I know this, but I'm choosing to not listen to my own advice here. But I can be aware of things that are bad for me and still refuse to do what I know I should. It's just who I am as a person, and I like to say I'm working on it, but I can't promise that. Number 5, designated space for things. So for those who know me well at home, one of the first things they'd notice about me when visiting my shop is how hyper organized I keep things there. Everything has a label, everything has its designated spot. I can't stand clutter, and I can't have a drawer or a door left open. I keep everything insanely organized and neat, and there is a place for everything and everything in its place, like they say. This is the exact opposite of my home life, where chaos rules everything, and I think I've nailed this down to comfort. So I'm comfortable at home. I'm not afraid of everything falling apart at home. And at the shop, I have to be in boss lady mode constantly, where I'm constantly trying to make sure it doesn't all go to shit. And I have to really focus and concentrate, and I have to be really productive and efficient with my time because my time is really important to me. So having a designated space for everything means I'm not losing things. I don't lose time looking for things. I don't have clutter around to distract me. Like, if I'm working and I can see something out of the corner of my eye that needs to get done or get put away, I'm thinking about that. And if I have things in my view that are messy or out of place, my eyes and my brain are wandering. I might even stop what I'm doing to go on a whole side quest and figure it out. And that means I'm not being my most productive. So I keep everything clear of clutter. I even keep the break room organized and clean. And that might seem like overkill, but if I'm going back there to take a break, I need it to actually make me feel better, and I need it to re-energize me, not stress me out, not make me uneasy, and not give me more work to do. Also, side note, someone once told me to create the space for the life that you want, kind of like dressing for the job that you want. So if I want to have an amazing shop where high-level talented artists want to work, I need to build and keep a space like that. That means clean, organized, professional, quality equipment, quality supplies, not a place that's a disorganized mess and looks like no one gives a fuck. Same goes for my office. I have to ask myself, is this the office of a badass shop owner who has her shit together, or does it look like a toddler came in here and trashed the place? And honestly, as I'm saying this, I think I need to take this moment to tell myself I should also be treating my home this way. If I want to be able to relax and get that sleep that I say I'm prioritizing, I should probably clear the clutter off my dresser and get my shoes out from under the bed and put them away. And I should probably take the time to put the pile of junk mail on the counter where it belongs. So, okay, I hear you. I hear you, past Missy. And I'm going to work on this, I promise. Speaking of junk mail and papers piling up, number 6, more digital, less paperwork. How many of you have a notebook you bought, used one time, and then never touched it again? Do you have multiple notebooks like this? What about day planners? What about post-it notes or notepads, journals? Right, I know you do, because we're the same and we are notebook hoarders. What is it about a nice, fresh notebook that's just so appealing? A fresh start or a clean slate or a new beginning? It's a chance to get it right this time. Whatever the reason, it's a setup. You're not going to use it. Don't buy that notebook. Instead, let's consider getting organized digitally. Online lists, like the program Monday.com that I use. Is it expensive? Yes. Do I care? No, because it does what my brain needs it to do in order for me to actually use it. My list apps, Google Keep, I use all of these things. Google Docs is what I use for pretty much everything else, all of my processes, my note taking for podcasts, for my webinar, for my seminars, like all of those things I use Google Docs for. It's free. Just use it. Online scheduling apps, I use Mana Scheduler. I love it, and I've used it for the past 8 years or so. You guys that are out there using a paper calendar are fucking wild. I don't know. I don't know how you do that, how you keep track of that. You just have it with you all the time. I don't understand. And I get like there's that fear of what if the website crashes and I lose my whole schedule. Nope, not going to say that out loud and jinx myself, but have a backup plan, I guess, but having a paper calendar is just nuts to me. Voice memos, I use those to get quick thoughts out that I don't have time to write down. Like a lot of times if I'm driving or something and I have an idea, I'm gonna just talk into my phone and do a text memo or a voice memo. And that translates, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they translate into like a transcript. So you can actually copy and paste that into whatever program you're using. And it makes it super easy. So you don't need to sit there and like write everything out. Also, though, more notebooks, because I still do use them a lot of them. And you're gonna think I'm crazy because of the amount of notebooks I have. But these are the ones I use. So I know I just said like less paperwork, more digital, but if you're gonna get a notebook, fucking use it or don't get it, right? So I have a notebook for my accountability check-ins. So I do weekly accountability check-ins with myself, with my friend who owns a business. We go over wins, struggles, goals for the week. I put it all in my accountability journal and I keep it on my desk and I see it every day when I come in and I sit down. It's right there. I can look at it. I can use it. And it doesn't move. It stays there. It doesn't come home with me. If I'm home and I need it, oh well, I'm not going to carry around 10 notebooks in my backpack. It's crazy. So I have a notebook for one-on-ones with all my employees, the artists in my shop, and I write notes about what I want to talk with them about. Like if anything comes to mind, I'll write it in the notebook. We record their wins, their struggles, their goals. I have an idea book, which that one I don't use as much, but it's there. It's kind of for when I have a big idea that I need to brain dump about. It's not for like the little things. I kind of use my voice memo for like little ideas, but for the big ideas that I'm like, okay, this is the idea. This is the beginning. I'm actually going to do this thing and I need to brainstorm and brain dump. I'll put it in that notebook. Sometimes helping, like actually physically writing things out helps me complete the idea and just like figure it out. And I don't really know how to explain that, but that's what I use it for. I have a time audit notebook. It's a small notebook that I use to periodically just log my time and what I'm working on, and it keeps me on track. I always know where it is, and it's easier for me to log my time in that than through a computer program, which is how I was originally taught how to do a time audit, like a Google sheet or something. I'm not gonna fucking do it. It's never gonna happen. So it's just easier for me to have a notebook that I can just scribble in like whatever the hell I'm doing. Especially if I'm like running around doing things and not sitting at my desk, I just keep it on me. So in conclusion, do we really need another notebook? No. Should we get another notebook anyway? Yes and no. Just make sure that you actually use it for something if you're going to buy it this time. Number 7, having ADHD means having zero sense of time. So I need constant reminders. I set reminders on my phone, or I'm going to forget literally everything. At any given time, I probably have 10 to 15 alarms set on my phone for meetings, for doctor's appointments, to eat, to drink. Yes, it's that bad. I forget to eat all day and I forget to drink water. So I have a little reminder like every couple of hours, like, have you been drinking your water? Are you drinking your water? Like, take a sip of water, whatever. So, and I need a reminder to tell myself to go home sometimes. You guys think I'm kidding, but I live in my own world where time doesn't exist. And once I'm focused on something and locked in, I can't unlock unless an outside force snaps me out of it. And a lot of times that outside force has to be an alarm or a reminder. Number 8, planning ahead. This is not a naturally occurring skill for us ADHDers, but is possibly one of the most useful and life-changing tools that we can possess. The ability to plan ahead for events, inevitable disasters, for days, weeks, months. Being self-aware, knowing how your brain works and working that into the equation can really mean the difference between having a great day and having an awful day. For example, yesterday, I knew I was going to have to work from home for a while in the morning, and I planned ahead for all the things that would inevitably derail me. My dog, having to go in and out and being annoying all day. My home office being a disaster from painting my daughter's room last weekend and throwing all of her shit in there, which we just talked about, would be a huge distraction for me. And not having my computer and all the things that I need like set up and ready to go when I sat down at 8 a.m. to start. So I planned ahead for all of this. I cleared out the office the night before. I set up all my things where I needed them and the way that I needed them so that I could just sit down and be ready to go. And then I figured out what to do with Baxter so he wouldn't be like scratching at the door in and out all day. And however, did not plan for the man that was fixing our siding to be banging on the side of the house like all fucking day. I planned for everything else. I had planned for the gym in the morning, so I had my headphones fully charged and ready to go so I could wear them all morning and block out the sound. So I still could kind of hear the banging, but it wasn't fucking me up too badly, so it ended up working out. Planning doctor's appointments at the most convenient times is really important too. So yesterday I also had to take my daughter to the doctor in the middle of my admin day. Why did I do that? That's fucking stupid. And I was really pissed at myself for doing that. But I'm sure there was a reason. I don't know what it was, but either way, it sucked. But I planned for it and I knew it was coming up, so I could plan to work from home until we had to leave. And then I could just drop her off and get back to work. But no problem, planned ahead. Had I not planned ahead for that, my morning would have been so fucking chaotic. Would have gone to work, had to leave work, go all the way back home, which I live an hour from my work. Don't ask me why. It's a long story. But I live an hour away, so I would have wasted 2 hours of my day driving back and forth, then taking her to the doctor and driving back up here. So I was able to navigate that ahead of time. My last tip for dealing with ADHD in your business is possibly the hardest, but is the most important. Asking for help. We all at this point should be pretty aware of what we suck at, and I know what my areas of weakness are. I could try to muscle my way through it and be miserable and force myself to do a terrible job at whatever it is. Or I could recognize that, hey, I'm really bad at this thing and I need help. And then I can find somebody who's actually really great at that thing and let them work their magic. As it turns out, I'm not meant to be great at everything. And it's actually okay. It's totally fine. If you're like me, asking for help is super hard and it's so difficult to admit that you can't do everything yourself and it feels like defeat and like you're admitting that you're weak, but it is physically impossible to be the best at every single thing. So just let it go. Let someone else shine at what they are good at and let them help you so that you can focus on the things that you're actually good at and the places where you actually shine. I promise the more you ask for help with these things, the easier it actually gets to admit that you can't do it alone and just be able to ask people. You might even start to like getting help. Crazy, right? So to recap my 9 tips on dealing with my ADHD in my business. Number 1, use lists. Number 2, create routines. Number 3, get some sleep. Number 4, chunk down the big tasks. Number 5, minimize distractions. Number 6, set reminders. Number 7, utilize technology and get rid of all the paperwork. Number 8, plan ahead. And number 9, ask for help. Having ADHD does not mean we can't do hard things and we can't get shit done. We just have to lean into what works for us and away from the things that make everything worse. Know what the difference is for you. I'd love to hear your tips and suggestions, so comment on our social media, or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below letting us know what helps you with your ADHD, and we'll see you next week.